Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Chair, thank you for being before us today. I've got a few questions that I want to ask and concerns that I have. The first is something that we worked with and was concerned about very much during the 2008 recession, and that is dealing with the problem of too-big-to-fail institutions. I understand today there's still 11 banks in our country that are still perceived to be too big to fail. Some are even bigger today than they were back 5 years ago. Now, I also hear that many banks have seriously reduced their risky trading activities, but that either other risk remains or there's new risk that has arisen. So can you please give us an update on the too big to fail problem and the issue so that because I don't ever want to go down that road again.
Well, we don't want to go down that road either. Dodd-Frank gave us numerous tools to deal with too big to fail, and we have used them. To start with our supervision program for the largest institutions has been completely revamped, and we do take into account the systemic risks that affect these banking organizations. We now engage in extremely rigorous stress testing in which we make sure that these large institutions could survive an extremely severe set of shocks and have enough capital to go on serving the needs of the country in terms of providing credit. We have ramped up capital standards and liquidity standards for these firms and have a range of enhanced prudential standards. We have tools in orderly liquidation that we could use that we did not have during the financial crisis, that if such a firm were to encounter distress, we have a way to wind that firm down. And this morning we discussed the living wills process and the fact that we're going to insist on changes that would make these firms also resolvable under bankruptcy. For the largest of the systemically important firms, we have put out a proposal that they be forced to hold additional capital based on the size of their systemic footprint over and above what any other institutions hold because of the impact that their failure could potentially have on the economy. And we're beginning to see discussions that these capital charges are sufficiently large. It's causing those firms to think seriously about whether or not they should spin off some of their enterprises to reduce their systemic footprint. And frankly, that's exactly what we want to see happen. That's the purpose of them.
So I should feel, at least be comfortable, or that the work and or the principles within Dodd-Frank as being adhered to, and they are working. It is, that we're not on the verge of having another risky situation where there's contagion and the markets that it's working. And
I believe the financial system is much safer. There is twice as much high-quality capital among the largest firms now than there was before the crisis, and I believe this list of steps I just gave are very significant. I'm not going to say that the last step has been taken in the process of dealing with this. There is more on the drawing board. We're going to put out a requirement later this year that they hold enough long-term debt to facilitate the resolution.
Let me just ask one other question, because I see I'm almost out of time. Some of the biggest, and this is on the wage increases recently, some of the biggest, largest American businesses have announced increases in minimum wage, and some of the states have gone up. Is this or can it be a reflection of a larger economic trend, with increasing, and will this have a positive impact on the overall U.S. economy?
I mean, we have seen announcements of wage increases, and in specific cases, I can't say what was behind it, but in a stronger job market where firms find it more difficult to hire the kind of workers that they want, you should expect to see more upward pressure on wages. And in that sense, hopefully it is a good sign that the economy and the labor market are improving.
Chair now recognizes